435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air,
and Electrical.
Let's fly. Your next trip starts at Lincoln Airport with American Airlines. Now flying nonstop service to Dallas, Fort Worth, and Chicago. American Airlines connects Lincoln to major hubs and destinations around the globe. Wherever you're headed, LNK gets you there with new nonstop flights on American Airlines.
Now boarding.
Convenient, fast, and stress-free. Book your next flight at LincolnAirport.com. LNK, make flying easy.
Welcome into the post-game post-up. Nebraska basketball just finished up another game. Hustle down to the block and get position.
Shot clock to 7. Hoiberg missed. Got his own rebound. Right back up. Missed it.
And there he is, Garcia. How big has he been down the stretch for this Nebraska ball club?
10 points all in the second half. Now the lead back to 3.
Join 93.7 The Ticket to break down the best players and key moments from today's action.
Sanford a couple of steps from behind the line. And now Lawrence from the corner. He hits. And another eruption from all the red in Lincoln.
Not even close.
Now Creighton has not been able to hit anything. 0 for 8 from distance. Prager gets some space. He connects.
Post-game coverage of Nebraska basketball on The Ticket is sponsored by Union Bank and Trust, the Lincoln Airport, Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, and John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical.
Here we gotta go.
Down to 5. Hoiberg kicks it out. Lawrence for the win.
It's the post-game post-up on 93.7 The Ticket.
Well. How about Nebraska 58, Michigan State? Number 9 ranked Michigan State 56. From Pinnacle Bank Arena, the Huskers find a way. They find a way to do the most difficult thing in all of sports. Finish. And because of said facts and details, Harrison Orange, kind sir, if you would please set the tone.
Rightfully so.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
14-0 DP. Are we 3 games past the best record start in school history now?
14-0, 18 straight consecutive. 18 straight. Let's measure that.
We did not lose one time in the 2025 year.
The 18th consecutive win for Fred Hoiberg and the Fighting Hoibergs of Nebraska basketball.
We haven't lost in a year, and to start the new year, you beat down a top 10 opponent.
You took down number 9, and this is
what a run.
There's certain benchmarks, there's certain standards, right, for Big Ten basketball. And Coach Tom Izzo, legend, Hall of Famer, and this program that came into Pinnacle Bank Arena with 1 loss. This is a 12-1 Michigan State basketball team. And to say that, they didn't play poorly. They had a ton of turnovers. And we'll go through some of the numbers before we get to Harrison Orange Austin Orman when he gets through. But I'll give you some of the numbers along the way. Rink Mass playing NBA lottery level basketball. 19 points, 7 rebounds, big down the stretch, 6 of 15 from the floor, 6 of 13 from 3.
Oh, geez.
And the big 3, right? They only made 1 of their last 8 shots and still leave the building with a win. 19 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists for Rink Mass against Michigan State. Added support along the way. And here are some of the numbers. That 13 points from Bryce Sanford. He hit 3 threes tonight. 3 rebounds to go along with it. Battle foul trouble, stayed in the fight. 12 points for Jamarcus Lawrence. 3 of 8 from the field, 3 assists, 2 rebounds for Jamarcus. Stat stuffer, Sam Hoiberg with 4 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal. Braden Frager, 9 points, 3 of 5 from 3, 4 steals. 4 of the Husker 7 steals tonight against Michigan State. The Huskers battle. Tough night on the boards. I mean, Master leading rebounder with 7, Berkay with 5 rebounds. Berkay didn't score, but to tell you down the stretch, his defense at the mesh point led to the big turnover from Michigan State down the stretch. He and Sam Hoiberg met at the mesh and got a turnover, bounced off the foot. Impressive. The Huskers, 18 of 57 from the field, 13 of 37 from 3, 9 of 13 from the free throw line. 16 personal fouls. They had 15 assists to their 8 turnovers. Almost 2 for 1. Almost 2 to 1. Listen to me. To do that, you can't. I say it all the time for Nebraska athletics. When Nebraska doesn't beat itself, it gives its chance to compete with anybody in any sport. But it doesn't beat itself. And so we will take your text, 402-464-5685. Got something to say, hit us up.
Well, while you guys send those in, let me give one of our sponsors a shout out as well.
Please.
Of course, our sponsors want to shout out Union Bank in Trust on this segment. Get a great rate on 6, 12, or 24-month CD with Union Bank in Trust. Learn more at ubt.com. Again, ubt.com.
Thank you, Kaiser. Cubsker says, DP, I need some face paint and ropes because I have a lot of energy and need to Ultimate Warrior out 14-0. The next break we'll get that for you. David Fullerton, 2 really good teams going at it. Fun to watch. Go Big Red. Absolutely in the space. Exceptional from YouTube. We'll get to all of you folks and we actually see you. So, Dub.
Basketball school.
Dub. Go Big Red all over the place. Justin, we see you. Furby, we see you. Captain, always good. Freddie, Freddie Money at it again. Listen, Freddie Money did it again. Shout out to Coach Hoiberg. Right? For all the heat. And we need the fan cam tonight. This is for this post game. You need a fan cam in effect. Fully. Nels in Montana, basketball school. Man, this is good. Frager was huge, even despite the technical. Yeah, I mean, listen, to make plays along the way and to find answers. The most difficult thing in sports is to finish. Everybody competes and wants to compete. Everybody wants the dub. But when things get frictional, when things get difficult, when things get tough, every pass becomes more difficult. Every catch becomes more difficult. Every rebound becomes more important. Right? Making and knocking down a killer 3. Well done, Mr. Rink. Rink Mass. Thank you, kind sir.
Oh, reliable.
Right? I mean, listen, to have a night like that, greatly appreciate it.
Continue the nights. I mean, he just keeps having those nights, regardless of the competition. He's just been such a great watch. And for all the other guys to feed off of it, oh, man. I think it's a tough team to scout right now. Kind of knowing how many guys can have moments and really start to make you pay.
Well, it's the thing that said, Brian Potter says, I love the energy Berkay brings on the board and defensive, and even though I cringe every time he puts up a shot. Yeah, I mean, he went over tonight, but he still had a positive impact on the ball game. Right? Chad Adams saying 14-0. And again, we're going to have everybody on the fan cam tonight. We'll leave that up just so folks can see what downtown Lincoln looks like after the Huskers knock off Michigan State. This is big. This is big. Like, we should have put the sign up. Like, just
right now, I mean, I think people know where we are now, which helps, and no one's batted an eye when they're walking back.
Right. They know we're going to be here, which is part of the deal. And watching down O Street, and folks, feel free to blow your horn, honk your horn along the way. The sign is back there. It's right there in the corner.
Okay, that looks. I just want to turn off those bright lights so there's no glare, so we can see the people out there a little bit better.
Yep, that is there. Very big win. Street cam, absolutely. Yep, for the win. We got to get folks in there from the text line as well. Rick from Wahoo. Who needs football? We all need football. But right now, it is amazing. It is fun. Listen, for all that ails Husker Nation, you give some, you get some.
Uh-huh.
And to say, listen, while the bowl game was a disappointment, you cannot overstate a 14-0 and what is about to be a top 10 basketball program at the University of Nebraska Lincoln. This is great. Husker P says, I'm 50 years old, and this is the best team of my life. Great game, great Husker team. There's nothing we can't even argue that.
I mean, the one with the most meaning, given the when we're beat number 1 Purdue was huge.
Yeah, but you weren't undefeated.
Now this is undefeated, and you're continuing to run best start in school history. You got 2 ranked wins versus Big Ten opponents. I mean, you just keep racking up what the good start has been.
Before the game, I said this, to my thinking, this was the biggest Husker home basketball game since No-Sit Sunday.
Correct.
I meant that. I stand 10 toes down on that. And it's an accumulation of a lot of things, right? It's an accumulation of, my goodness gracious, going to Hawaii and winning the Diamond Head Classic.
Mm-hmm.
Finding a way with some of these players, right, to do this. And then going through the Big Ten season, getting some wins, and then finding a way to win the Crown Classic. Finding a way to win critical, close, tough games. And then this season, early invitational, finding a way to win. Going to go on the road and win. Go on the road twice and win. And then to get a road win in the Big Ten. And then to face Michigan State. To face the legend in your building with all the uncertainty and the bad taste, still burping up a bad football bowl performance, and the uncertainty, because you want to commit, you want to fully emotionally invest in it. But Harrison, it's like, do we trust?
Yes.
Charlie Brown with the football. Like with Charlie Brown with the football. If we get all in for basketball.
Well, what's her name? Who's the chick holding the football?
Lucy.
All right. Well, Lucy's just held the ball in place 14 times in a row.
Lucy.
So start swinging.
Right?
Because she hasn't. 14-0 is crazy.
Said, I honestly feel super from the text line. I honestly feel super bad for Coach Rule. It has to be hard watching basketball, volleyball, wrestling, and have so much fun. Dominance with 1/6 of the money. Listen, it is what it is. Don't feel bad. Get better. Mm-hmm. You're the king, and you're watching your people. Now, understand, all the resources that the other programs use comes from Matt Rule and the football program. But, hey, let me say this. I want to celebrate Coach Fred Hoiberg, Coach Lenzer, that staff who swam through some tough, choppy water over the last several years, right? And, hey, by the way, in case you hadn't noticed, basketball has to deal with the transfer portal and revenue share as well. I don't see any $1 million babies. Do you? Haven't broken the band. That's right. Blow the horns tonight on O Street. Blow the horns. Harrison, I mean, seriously. Like, to understand that you found a way to make it work in basketball, in a men's sport at the University of Nebraska.
Yeah.
Like, you can make an excuse or you can make a way, and 14-0, 18 straight wins in Power 4 basketball. 14-0, sitting on top of the Big Ten basketball. You're in season. This is January, bruh. I posted a month ago. Are y'all having fun watching this Husker basketball team? And I mean to tell you, the heat that I took, oh my goodness, calm down. It's early in the season. It's too early to say they're good. They're just going to do what they always do. They're going to clap the field. And I went, I'm just telling you what I see. And it's okay to celebrate what they've done, what they accomplished. They are on a win streak and have been on a win streak. What's wrong with saying, I'm going to celebrate the win streak? Like, there's nothing wrong with saying
you got a bunch of abused dogs, but I think the dogs are learning to love again.
Well, you have to learn.
I think they're learning to love again.
You have to learn, right? You got to get in the crate with them, and you got to talk them through it.
Like, hey, buddy,
right?
I'm different from the last one.
Here's your treat. Here's your treat.
Yeah, YouTube says, I agree. I don't know if we made like some dark deal behind an alley, but Indiana football went downhill for the sake of Nebraska basketball, and Nebraska football went downhill for the sake of Indiana football.
Listen, to simply say, it says, listen, Fred, I'm sorry I ever said you needed fired after going 10-22 in 2022. That's really a thing, right? That I understand it. I get it. Corey says this on the text line. What up, fellas? That sure was fun. In my mind, Cale Jacobson's growth in the crown tourney last year allowed for him to come in during Sanford and Sam's foul troubles and keep the team moving. It was exceptional. The accumulation of quality moments. That's how learning how to win is a vital thing. And it is an accumulation of moments throughout the course, whether it be practice, in game situation, and then being put out there. If you're Cale, listen, we covered Cale when he was in high school and watched him win a state title, put up 38 points in the championship
game. Yeah, for Ashland Greenwood.
Right? And you go through and you watch and say, okay, this is a Power 4 basketball player. And what he did, he evolved. And he came in and said, in order for me to help this team here, I have to put aside the score ability and I have to defend. I have to facilitate. I've got to go in and I got to be in the right place, right time, all of those things. Sam Hoiberg, when we saw him at Pius X. We saw him when we reached out to Sam 3 years ago and he said, Sam, we think you should be doing radio. You should be telling the story of what's going on in Husker basketball. And this is the beauty of it, to understand in full, to watch his maturity and growth, his physical maturity and growth, his emotional maturity and growth, and then his basketball maturity and growth. And that family has to be proud of themselves. Twin brother on the coaching staff, mom's the loudest cheerleader in the buildings, mom and sis, or mom and daughter. Like it's the accumulation. He goes, Texter says this, 2140 says, how can you not be excited about Husker basketball right now? This year feels different. They just keep getting it done. I just want to say it. 18 consecutive wins. You can't backpedal. You can't moonwalk into 18 consecutive wins. That has to be purposeful. That is forward and up movement. Right? And this was an aggressive Husker basketball team tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this was a physical.
You forced, what was it, 18, 19 turnovers?
You forced 18 turnovers against Michigan State. That's a 12-1 Michigan State team. This is not a down Michigan State
team. Their only
team.
loss was to Duke.
Right.
And they've been beating the doors off a lot of other programs on the way.
94-95 says this, that win has been the best thing I've seen this year, but I still have a knot in my stomach as I'm waiting for the floor to drop out. Understood. But tonight on a Friday night in Lincoln, Nebraska, Haymarket is going to be an absolute vibe. It is going to be Haymarket.
Friday.
Haymarket.
That's right.
Friday in Haymarket after a 14-0 Husker basketball win. A 14-0 Husker. This team walked into tonight, faced the number 9 team in the country, a legendary coach. Stand him down. And then when things got critical, you found a way, you were down early, fought back, got a lead. They fought back and forth, seesaw, more friction, tough possessions down the stretch. Every possession, I said at the 5:09 mark, it became a possession-by-possession game. And that you had to win each possession. You don't want to extend it past 4 minutes, but they had to tonight. And then in the final possession, hitting the big three, and then getting a stop, forcing the turnover, and then getting the missed free throw, and then getting the rebound. Like, critical to just making plays. Dan from Canterbury. It's called Dub City, baby. We're called a Lincoln Dub City. He told you it's a basketball town. Man, that is crazy. Cubs said, I would kill to be living in Lincoln right now. We feel you, bro. We feel you, and we thank you for hanging out with us.
College kids that probably thought they went home.
Oh, man. That's why I asked before the game to think about what that means going forward.
When they get back,
right?
The vault's gonna be shaky.
Oh, well, but I still think Haymark's gonna be fired because those streets are busy right now.
Oh, it'll be fine.
2393 Texas, go Big Red. Awesome win by the Huskers. Maybe Rule could take some tips from Fred, Husker Rick, and Creve. Hey, Creeper, Missouri. Where is that? Where's Creeper? Okay, Kansas City. Where is that? Yeah, downtown Scott. Throw the expletive, bro. The F word fits. The F bomb.
Heck yeah, it says downtown Scott.
Yep. Texas says this. We aren't a fun story. We are the story in college basketball this year. Legit contender. Facts. It went from, listen, it was an interesting story. It was an interesting byline going into today. Hey, folks. There's a really good basketball team in Lincoln, Nebraska. They're 13-0. And then under that
who have
header,
they played?
Under that
header, they just beat Illinois on the road.
Under that header, no, but here's the thing. Under that header, even Husker fans writing that headline, hey, it's really cool to be number 13 in the country and 13-0. But every Husker fan looked at the schedule and saw Michigan State and Tom Izzo coming in here in the new year after a break, and you have questions. Well, we say, you got answers tonight. You got answers tonight in a brawl. Like, this wasn't one that, you know what, you're just Nebraska on a heater, right? That they played the best, they shot the lights out, and that's why they won. Nope, didn't shoot the lights out, didn't hit their free throws, weren't dominant on the board, but they were who they are, which is they were exceptional defensively. 18 turnovers against Michigan State.
That's what I should look up.
St. Louis,
Michigan
thank
State
you. St.
only
Louis.
had 56 in this one. The last game, for reference, they had 114, then 79, 92, 76. This is the only other time they scored this low was their loss to Duke, where they only scored 60.
But this is, I mean, to go through it, Husker fans are feeling it on O Street. We are loving it. Fred is cooking.
Yeah, we've held them to
right.
their lowest total all year so far.
Well, I mean, this is it, right? And John says this, don't have to win big, just got to win. Just this team is different. This team is really different. Don't think we've had it before. I think that's, I mean, I, as a basketball guy, I get caught up in watching, because defense travels. And defense gets you out of trouble. When they tell you that defensive driving makes for better road work. When defense is at your core, and if you haven't talked to Nate Lenzer, and I need to book him for next week, Nate Lenzer is an absolute spirit. And to have him barking and getting these dogs defensively, well, the Huskers defensively, they're dogs. Absolute dogs. And this is a 56 points you held Michigan State to. Great Curtin, Northern Kentucky, says, great game. Poor Peacock, that stream was worse than the Nebraska football game. Yeah, it was tough. We were struggling with it here. Corey and Lincoln said, I don't want to hear about no sit Sunday anymore. I was there. This is much bigger. This is the best team since the 90s easily and has a chance to be best of all time. Again, people looked at me like I was crazy when I said, mark it down. Enjoy the ride. Whatever comes from it. You just beat Michigan, the number 9 team in the country at home. And you're 14-0. And on an 18-game win streak. And
you haven't lost in the entire year of 2025, and you flipped the calendar and beat number 9 Michigan State to start off 26.
I just think to celebrate. You're allowed to feel good. You're allowed to smile. You're allowed to love your Huskers. You're allowed to love Husker basketball. You're allowed to say job well done to each and every Husker player. You're allowed to say Coach Hoiberg and staff, outstanding, well done. Because guess what? At 14-0 and an 18-game win streak, you're doing it perfectly. You're doing it as well as no matter what else happens the rest of the season. What you can say is you stared a really good, a top 10 Big Ten team in the face. You literally nose to nose in a dogfight. It came out with a win. James in Lincoln says this. I was there tonight, and it was the best athletic environment I've ever been in my life. Also, Nebraska did not need to win this game for the year to be successful. Amen, brother. But the road to a 2 or 3 seed just got a lot easier. And yes, they are absolute dogs on defense. Just unreal effort tonight. That's why you listen. This is a team of shooters, and Oogie's going to come in and add to. Leo's going to come in and add to. We're going to miss Connor Essegian, but you're defending, and that translates. That puts you in most games across this thing. Listen, we're not talking about, we don't have to go crazy and go to the far extreme of where you're putting them. But what we know is currently they have answers. They have answers, and they had answers tonight. Fred said he couldn't celebrate or soak it in. Game Monday. Hey, man, tell me you got a much bigger mission. Tell me you got a much bigger mission. All right, post games in full effect here on 937 Ticket. Austin Orman from PBA also get recaps and reports on what the Huskers and Coach Hoiberg are saying down at PBA. Austin Orman joins us on the post game. 14-0, the Huskers on an 18-game win streak.
Hey, Husker Nation. This is Todd Euler, two-time national champion, here to talk to you about Window World Lincoln. At Window World, we specialize in replacement windows, doors, siding, and roofing. Whether you're looking to enhance the beauty of your home or increase its energy efficiency, we've got you covered. And here's the best part. We offer the best for less. Our team is dedicated to providing top-quality products and exceptional service at affordable prices. We want to earn your business and make your home improvement dreams a reality. So why wait? Contact Window World Lincoln today at 464-7313 or visit our website at WindowWorldLincoln.com. Window World Lincoln, where quality meets affordability.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Why are some people more successful? Is it talent and determination, or did they recognize an opportunity? Discover a career that lets you help families reach their financial goals as you build lasting professional relationships. One with unlimited income potential. From Modern Woodman, a leading fraternal financial services provider.
I'm Modern Woodman Regional Director Sean Erickson. Call me at 402-483-6515 to learn about career opportunities.
Modern Woodman of America. Touching lives, securing futures.
The place you call home should always be a place of comfort. Warm and cozy in winter, cool and relaxing in summer. If your home isn't delivering the comfort you expect, call Bryant. It's more than just hot and cold to them. It's about providing the best comfort solutions. And Bryant gives you a full 24-month test drive on your home comfort system. Get full details at BryantLincoln.com or call 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Coppell Chevrolet GMC, the #1 fastest growing GMC dealer in the Omaha and Lincoln area. We are going to keep this train rolling in a big way with new half-ton and 4x4 pickup trucks starting at $12,500 off list price or 0% financing. You heard that right, $12,500 off list price or 0% financing. You pick which one works better for you. Please stop on in the dealership and meet the team or check us out at CoppellCars.com. Stock number C280930, all deals with approved credit.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program by building a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
The time is now. Lincoln Marathon and Half Marathon registration is now open, and prices are rising. The sooner you sign up, the less you pay. Set the goal, start training. Register now at LincolnMarathon.org. Race day is May 3rd.
Hey, Husker Nation. This is Todd Euler, two-time national champion, here to talk to you about Window World Lincoln. At Window World, we specialize in replacement windows, doors, siding, and roofing. Whether you're looking to enhance the beauty of your home or increase its energy efficiency, we've got you covered. And here's the best part. We offer the best for less. Our team is dedicated to providing top-quality products and exceptional service at affordable prices. We want to earn your business and make your home improvement dreams a reality. So why wait? Contact Window World Lincoln today at 464-7313 or visit our website at WindowWorldLincoln.com. Window World Lincoln, where quality meets affordability.
Now back to the post-game post-up on 93.7 The Ticket. Post-game coverage of Nebraska basketball on The Ticket is sponsored by Union Bank and Trust, the Lincoln Airport, Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, and John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical. It's the post-game post-up on 93.7 The Ticket.
All right, welcome back in. This is the Husker Hoops post game. And real quick, we got to shout out another sponsor, John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical. Proudly serving the Lincoln, Omaha, and surrounding areas. John Henry's can assist you with any service like electrical maintenance, installation, or repair. Call today at 402-809-1159 or go to jhlincoln.com. Again, that's John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, Air, and electrical. You guys are still welcome to join in, celebrating what has been a perfect start, 14-0 and a top 10 win at home versus Michigan State Spartans.
Yeah, I find it fascinating, the movement and the timing of this success. There are folks who would try to write off this program and this coaching staff and these players. I mean, we went into an off season where the conversations about who were being brought in, again, a transfer portal era, that the amount of money being spent, and if the players don't pop, right? We talk about how much time is required to develop, but here comes Frager and company. Transfer portal, you're not spending a lot of money, but you're getting a couple of guys to come in and add to with even smaller resources, right? They're not spending the amount of money in basketball that Michigan State does. But you find guys who will make the plays and it'll be coachable and then to play together. Greg says this, I don't care about the Crown Tournament. I care about this year. This is the best team I've seen. Let's just get a tournament win. I don't want to be a trivia question anymore. I have to care about the Crown because the Crown is part of the accumulation. It's part of the accumulation, and that streak certainly matters. Because that's a tournament game. That's a tournament. And if you figure out how to win in a must-win tournament with money as a part of the equation, that's tournament basketball. That's NCAA tournament basketball. And that leads to good things in the Big Ten tournament. That leads to good things in the season. Figuring out which guys, Kale's not playing at the level he's playing without those additional games in the Crown. Sham's maturity in that space, right? Rink understanding that as he sat and watched, and the understanding that Bear K does some things on the floor and you have to allow him to do those things, right? The Cole Husker fans throwing the bones, getting them in. Texter says this, how does basketball have a glue guy, but the entire football roster doesn't have a single glue guy? DP, nice meeting you at the pep rally at Fremont Street. This is what it takes to be a top 10 team. We talked about that, right? And it's a pleasure meeting you, bro. Yeah, imagine in the Husker pep rally there in Fremont. He's got his daughter there screaming hash hole. And then he was rather bummed out after the bowl game. But we said, listen, take the good with the bad. Being a fan allows you to be a fanatic and it allows you to accept the good with the bad. Lessons learned along the way, and just a spectacular win there. The Crown was important. Yeah, Captain. He says, I 100% agree with you about the Crown. It is an important win. Those and a series of wins and learning how to do it. Let's go through some of the stats again. That defensively, the stats were important. And Fred in his presser was talking about rebounds and losing the rebound battle. They were out rebounded by 14. And I think a number to circle is the 11 offensive rebounds because, even on the last possessions, having that size, but you make a choice that do you want size on the floor or do you want free throw shooters on the floor? And they made a decision and they were subbing side to side to figure out what they were going to do. And you went small, aggressive defenders and it worked, aside from the tic-tac foul.
Yeah.
Right. But you held Michigan State to 17 of 50 from the floor, 34% for a Michigan State team from the floor.
Like I said, it was the lowest they scored. You kept them to 55. The last lowest, I think, was in the 60s versus that Duke team.
10 of 28 from three. They shot under 36% from the three-point line. 19 turnovers. I stand corrected. 19 turnovers to go against their 12 assists. That is a defensive effort in full. For the Huskers, again, led by Rink Mass, 19 points, 6 threes to go along with his 7 rebounds and 3 assists in 36 minutes. Quality, and then the big shot to end the game, and, of course, the big rebound to seal the deal. Sanford with 13 points on 3 with 3 threes, 5 personal fouls he had to deal. DeMarcus Lawrence with 12 points, 1 3, 5 for 5 from the free throw line, and it's important to have those points and point guards and wings that can make free throws down the stretch. Hoiberg 2 of 2 down the stretch as well. 5 assists, 4 rebounds, and a steal for Sam Hoiberg tonight. Bear K with 5 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 steals. A great effort for the Huskers. Again, finding a way to win. When you go one of your last 8 But defensively, you held Michigan 0 for their last 6, 2 of their last 10.
Yeah,
2 of the last 2. And get this now. It's not like we called it, but at the 5:09 mark, I said you have to just defend possession by possession. Michigan State had 0 field goals in the last 4:41. Listen, this thing, the numbers number, like the math. And it was a beautiful thing to watch. Texas says it's going through a tough time. Really needed something that inspiring. Outstanding. Scaper asked us, can you change a foul call after review? Never seen that before. I think you're reviewing the amount of time on the clock, not whether it's a foul. And then you can review whether it's shot in the a foul in the active shooting, location on the floor. There are things that you can check.
You can't add a foul.
Well, you can't. You can if there's a swing, like when the elbow went to the face. If they had missed it, you could go back and review and ask them to see whether that was a flagrant. So the elbow to the face that he takes.
Okay.
Yeah, you can go back and do that. Again,
I'd have to look at the play.
The mission would be to get the call right.
Yes,
like
always.
That should be right. And they said they reversed the call after Braden's technical. It was supposed to be a foul on Michigan State, and then they changed it to Braden. Then you look at the film and say, okay, did you the line of verticality? Did you change it? And then there was another one where possession was changed, where it was originally ruled the ball out of bounds was ruled.
Oh yeah, on the replay it showed
it was ruled Michigan State basketball, and then they showed it and they flipped it. So the mission is to get it right, and they don't always get it right. So when the fact that you're asking to get it right, trying to get it right, brilliant stuff. We appreciate everybody on the text line. We're going to wait for the press conference to end. Austin Orman.
You can imagine it's a longer one for.
Oh no, there's a little bit
not surprising.
There's a little bit to talk about. There's quite a lot to talk about.
So Mr. Orman still be joining us. Just taking a little bit. Understandably
so. I'm going to hang out until Austin gets it cracking.
And when Austin gets here, I'm going to get the hell out of the way and tell me what was it like in there. That place had been electric.
Well, there's so much good to this, and the women, the momentum like this, right, starts to take place. Sunday, the women play Sunday. Chance to get back on track.
Who do they have? Because they lost to USC, Iowa, Purdue. Okay.
So you get that one. That would be nice. Wrestling has an opportunity. Listen, last year they traveled to Northern Iowa and got handled. Tomorrow night, if you do not you want to ride the wave? Take yourself over to Vandy tomorrow night. Get yourself tickets for Nebraska versus.
What is their mascot that I'm blanking on? Northern Iowa Hawks.
What are they?
Like no, you don't have two Hawks.
Panthers.
Yeah, I think you're right. Oh, you're right. It might be the Panthers.
Panthers is what I would say. But they Northern Iowa will come in as number 16. Huskers are currently ranked 6 with an opportunity, and then to get right and get things moving. And looking forward to that. So again, to ride this thing through, and then Fred, of course, reminding you, this is a big win and all, but here comes Ohio State in 3 days. Fred, Coach Fred.
He don't care.
Coach Fred. Let's not do that. Let's celebrate. Let's sing cool in the game. It's Ohio State, and it's a 5:30 tip in Columbus, Ohio.
You said it's Monday or Tuesday?
Monday, January 5. Monday, January 5, 5:30. So we'll have to post game that. We were gonna air the lower level championship game, but I think we need to be available for Husker post game. Did we push that through?
I would think so.
Yeah.
I think that's more important. I think right now that's definitely our fan base's interest.
I'm just gonna make that. Captain says this: Fred Hoiberg develops players and has developed a basketball culture at Nebraska. The students love to be at a basketball game, and they are wild. I haven't seen a basketball culture at UNL since the Danny days. Yeah.
That was arguably
factual.
The second best time in Nebraska basketball history. Under Danny Nee.
You got to think it's pretty remarkable.
In the Big 8.
Right? To have that. And it was the shot of adrenaline this fan base needed. Like it deserved. It deserved that.
Yeah.
It deserves.
I mean, it's had generations of people not ever see it before they pass, which is crazy for how long this program has been around. And
well, okay. So here's, and I know that here's right. Imagine that you and I, a few weeks ago, had a conversation. We had a conversation, Harrison. And correct me if I'm wrong, but we had a conversation imagining the Huskers' first win in the NCAA tournament and what O Street would be like. And we were like, dare to dream that there would be people in the trees and cars and people running up and down O Street.
I don't have to really dream about it. It's become a real possibility. That's the beauty of it. It'd be, the captain's point. I haven't seen basketball culture at UNL since the Danny days. I wasn't here for that, but I believe it because when I got here, it was dead. And then Hoiberg started building it back, and this is the peak of its growth I've seen. But you know how hard it was to get me to care about Nebraska basketball when I went home? I'd be like, why are you watching that?
Well,
it's respectful. Hoiberg's made this into a real program.
That
demands respect.
We've had so many discussions about why are you guys doing post games for basketball? And I kept saying, listen,
there's sickos like me that are still rooting and watching.
Well, but Harrison, we went through all that 10 and 22 and those 7-win seasons for tonight.
Mm-hmm.
We went through.
No, not just tonight.
But you
more.
No,
more.
I
get what you're saying.
I'm able to be present. I'm able to be present.
I'm going to be watching these highlights a lot when I get home tonight, and I don't give a damn. I will still be here, Becca, if you're listening, bright and early for the show. But I'm going to be up watching some highlights. For a while.
Because I want to hear the country talk about Nebraska basketball.
Oh yeah,
we talk about it.
It's going to be refreshing social media. Soak it up.
Well, ESPN's going to talk about it. Peacock.
One of our listeners said this is no longer a story. It's arguably one of the stories.
Well, I mean, think about that. And it's over the weekend. This is over the weekend. Like that, there's 2 days. There's a whole weekend of time to talk about this, right? And to set up and go, you know what, folks? There's a basketball squad that's undefeated and top 10, and it's in Lincoln, Nebraska, and they are called the Nebraska Huskers. We'll go to break. More postgame coming up on the ticket.
Let's fly. Your next trip starts at Lincoln Airport with American Airlines. Now flying nonstop service to Dallas, Fort Worth, and Chicago. American Airlines connects Lincoln to major hubs and destinations around the globe. Wherever you're headed, LNK gets you there with new nonstop flights on American Airlines. Convenient, fast, and stress-free. Book your next flight at LincolnAirport.com. LNK, make flying easy.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
The time is now. Lincoln Marathon and Half Marathon registration is now open, and prices are rising. The sooner you sign up, the less you pay. Set the goal, start training. Register now at lincolnmarathon.org. Race day is May 3rd.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
A membership with John Henry's will fast-track you to front-of-the-line service, seasonal tune-ups, and far fewer unexpected moments. That means no breakdowns, no waiting on a call, and no nonsense. It's consistent care that prevents small issues from turning into big bills. Join the Comfort Club and get VIP treatment 365 days a year with 24-hour priority response, member-only discounts, and peace of mind on your home's most expensive systems. Call
John Henry's.
John Henry's Plumbing. Heating and air
and electrical.
MHC isn't a new company, just a new name. Moe's Moving is now Moe's Home and Commercial. Whether moving across town or across the state, MHC Moving has you covered, specializing in home, apartment, assisted, and independent living moves. MHC can handle your commercial moves as well. MHC Moving has 0 hidden fees. You'll never pay for same-day booking or be charged for stairs, heavy items, or elevator fees. Rates are the same Monday through Saturday, and you will never pay a truck or fuel surcharge. And they offer payment plans through PayPal. Call MHC Moving today at 402-853-7167 or go to mhcmoving.com.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Now back to the post-game post-up on 93.7 The Ticket. Post-game coverage of Nebraska basketball on The Ticket is sponsored by Union Bank and Trust, the Lincoln Airport, Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, and John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical. It's the post-game post-up on 93.7 The Ticket.
All right, welcome back into the post-game post-up. Harrison runs on the ones and twos. We do finally bring in Austin Orman after what was a long presser, and understandably so, a long presser. But before we get to his thoughts, real quickly, this segment sponsored by the Lincoln Airport. American Airlines is back at Lincoln Airport, bringing new nonstop flights from Lincoln to Dallas, Fort Worth, Chicago O'Hare starting in June 2026, with seasonal winter service to Phoenix starting in winter of 2026. Tickets are on sale right now as we speak. Austin Norman, this is the last segment for the hour, but I'll definitely hit the legal ID at the top. I want to bring you on for another segment after the fact just because we need to get your thoughts from that game. I'll let you just start off, man. I wouldn't even ask you something. Give me your thoughts.
I don't know how to contextualize what I just saw. There's really just not context for this. I mean, history continues to be made. First top 15 matchup in Pinnacle Bank Arena, men's or women's. And Nebraska found a way to win it. Nebraska got out-rebounded by 14 by Michigan State. Out-rebounded by 14 and won the game. Nebraska shot less than 24% in the second half against a top 10 team and found a way to win the game. Nebraska forced 19 Michigan State turnovers. They don't do that. Nebraska shot itself in the foot literally and figuratively there after taking its largest lead of the game. And they went up against a veteran team, but proved that they were a veteran team. I cannot make sense of the box score. I just can't. This is not a game that went to the Fred Hoiberg script at all, outside of really one area in some ways. And that was Rink Mast. I mean, this is why you go get a guy like that. Now, he was matched essentially by Jackson Kohler. Mast and Kohler both go for 19 points. Kohler on 5 of 6 from 3, 7 of 10 overall. Mast on 6 of 13 from 3 and 1 of 2 overall. He also added 7 rebounds and 3 assists in 36 minutes. A guy coming off a knee injury, a guy who hasn't been asked to play that many minutes in so long. It really put Nebraska on his back when they needed him to the most in the first half. This game played out in a way that we've seen Michigan State win countless numbers of games. But Nebraska kept its head. Nebraska stayed steady. The difference maker that Fred Hoiberg pinned a lot of hopes and dreams on a couple years ago in Rink Mast, the Dutch transfer from Bradley. Man, this was not a Nebraska men's basketball game that you look at the script and say they won it, except that Nebraska had the key player to the Fred Hoiberg system in Rink Mast. And it ended up being just enough.
Unreal finish. We are going to do another segment, like I said, but don't worry. This is not a long break. I shortened it up. We can split it, actually, because we're taking another break here. So we will take a break, but stay right there. We'll be back before you know it. Don't go anywhere. This is the Husker Hoops post-game show with Austin Orman, Harrison Arns. We will talk to you guys on the other side.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Let's fly. Your next trip starts at Lincoln Airport with American Airlines. Now flying nonstop service to Dallas, Fort Worth, and Chicago. American Airlines connects Lincoln to major hubs and destinations around the globe. Wherever you're headed, LNK gets you there with new nonstop flights on American Airlines.
Now boarding.
Convenient, fast, and stress-free. Book your next flight at LincolnAirport.com. LNK, make flying easy.
Sometimes good people make mistakes. When you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will defend you in court and protect your freedom to get you the best possible outcome and the justice you deserve. Trust your freedom to Liberty Law Group, the best criminal attorneys in Nebraska and Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
A membership with John Henry's will fast track you to front of the line service, seasonal tune-ups, and far fewer unexpected moments. That means no breakdowns, no waiting on a call, and no nonsense. It's consistent care that prevents small issues from turning into big bills. Join the Comfort Club and get VIP treatment 365 days a year with 24-hour priority response, member-only discounts, and peace of mind on your home's most expensive systems. Call
John Henry's.
John Henry's Plumbing. Heating and air.
And electrical.
There are so many realtors in Lincoln and Omaha, but don't get overwhelmed by all the no-names, plus all the different companies. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Real Estate is your go-to option, whether buying or selling residential, luxury, leasing, investment properties, or commercial property, small or large. Ben's team offers decades of experience, unbeatable customer service, and promises to fully protect your interests throughout the entire transaction. Call 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of BHHS Ambassador Real Estate.
Now back to the post-game post-up on 93.7 The Ticket. Post-game coverage of Nebraska basketball on The Ticket is sponsored by Union Bank and Trust, the Lincoln Airport, Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, and John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical. It's the post-game post-up on 93.7 The Ticket.
Welcome back in. The last and final segment before we wrap things up, but we'll keep it going here until you guys get tired or want to go to sleep. This is the show. Austin Orman, Harrison Arns. Of course, shout out to our sponsors, Union Bank and Trust, John Henry's Heating, Electrical, and AC, and then the Lincoln Airport. All right, Austin Orman, I know we also had a court storming at the end of this game, along with everything else that went on. Once again, I'm just going to give you the floor. There's so many headlines into this one. I want your thoughts.
Yeah, well, we'll start with the court storming. That's a good place as any to go. We've seen court stormings in Lincoln before. I want to say the most recent one was after Nebraska knocked off number 1 Purdue. If it wasn't that one, it was when Nebraska had the comeback to beat Wisconsin, which, ironically enough, I was in the building for neither of those games. I just have really unfortunate timing. I was at a church meeting, part of the leadership group at my church. So I was on a Tuesday night, so I missed Purdue. And then I think it was my aunt's funeral. I missed the comeback against Wisconsin. So this feels like the first big home win of this magnitude or close to it that I've been to in the Fred Hoiberg era. And so it's fun to be in the building for one of these finally. Tom Izzo spoke for a while about it. And toward the end, he was asked about the court storming, especially when it comes to the Michigan State aspect of when you see a team storm the court on you, does it give your guys any motivation? Does it, light a little bit of a fire underneath them? And I didn't get the whole answer, but the gist of it from Izzo is what I tweeted out at Austin_Orman, by the way. Izzo said, I was hoping I got stomped on, honestly. That doesn't happen much at our place. It's going to sound like a backhanded compliment or whatever, but it's a new experience here, and I wouldn't want these people to react any differently. So Tom Izzo generally pro court storm, and maybe it's a little bit different too because he went on to talk about it, and Fred Hoiberg also talked about it. Those two coaches have a pretty deep, a pretty special relationship.
They both appreciate one another. Of course, the family tie there is that Fred Hoiberg's son, Jack, was a member of Michigan State's program for a few years. So Fred Hoiberg and Tom Izzo spent a lot of time together. I have nothing but praise for it. And so maybe somewhere else in the conference, it doesn't go over as well. But Tom Izzo said, if it was going to happen, at least it was Fred. Now, Nebraska players took a completely different tone. And I think it fits with the mantra and the way that we've seen this team react. So we heard from Price Sanford, Rink Master, and Jamarcus Lawrence. And where was it? So Lawrence, loudest game I've ever played in. Jamarcus Lawrence was asked about, coming back, does it feel like you've been able to experience something sustainable being built? And then he went on to credit, Emmanuel Bandamel and Sam Griesel for starting the build, but then said, we're supposed to win this game. No more court storms, please. Rink Mast, in my opinion, you're supposed to win that game. From here on out, we've proven that we belong and we're supposed to win these games, which makes the natural follow-up, are you still in the moment? Are you still enjoying it? And Rink Mast said, yeah, of course. How can you not enjoy it? We're aware of the history that's being made, but we know that it's just one game. We don't want to fall flat on our face. And I think that's really good perspective from an older team, an experienced team, being able to properly contextualize, at least to some degree, the history that they're making right now. They're humans. They understand the excitement. They understand that there's literal history for Nebraska men's basketball on the line, and they're the ones making it. They're excited about it. They're happy about it. Maybe not as surprised as some others on the outside, but I do think that just like Lawrence, really credited Bandamel and Griesel for setting the foundation, nothing's given in the future. There's nothing set in stone. We know this in all walks of life. But I do think that in 3 or 4 years, if Nebraska is able to, continue to play its way not just into the NCAA tournament, but into, a top 8 seed pretty consistently and toward the top of the Big Ten, challenging for the double bye every year, the way that Fred Hoiberg and players that were around for that 2022-23 season, the way that they get talked about, this team might just be the next step in that, doing something that hasn't been done, resetting the culture, resetting the expectations. And this group, if things continue the rest of the season and, into the future for Nebraska men's basketball, I think this team will go down in some very, very similar conversations to that 22-23 group.
I want to ask you about the defense as well, because just looking at Michigan State and what Nebraska is able to do to them, this is the lowest that Michigan State scored all year. What was it? Just 55 or 56? 56. And up until that point, it was your guys, the Duke Blue Devils, who Michigan State only got 60 points on. Those are the only.
That was at home. That was at home, by the way.
It was that. All right, easy. Well, this is the Nebraska. This is the Husker Hoops Postgame show. We'll get to Duke another day. But how good is Nebraska's defense? Because, again, I love these guys. They're fun to watch. This is not the group that you would think of being an elite defensive team due to athleticism weaknesses, but Nate Lenzer seems to have those guys playing at an incredibly high level, and that's a huge reason why they won this game. What were you seeing in the Huskers' defense?
Yeah, so this was actually a pretty typical game for Nebraska defensively. I think it went according to plan, relatively speaking, for Nebraska. I mean, you give up 11 offensive rebounds, like 3 or 4 of them came on one possession. 9 second chance points, really not that bad. You actually take more shots than Michigan State, due in large part to the Spartans' turnover issues. But, Harrison, a big piece of Nebraska's defense is its offense. Coming into many Nebraska games, whoever hits their threes is more likely to win. And I know when you look at a 58-56 game, it's not about, well, Nebraska hit more threes, so they were going to win, and Michigan State hit fewer threes, so they were going to lose. Michigan State kind of torched the nets. It stretches, right? I mean, Kohler was 5 of 6. That's really the worst I thought Nebraska played on defense all day was they lost him a handful of times in the half, or a couple times in the half court, and once or twice in secondary transition. He didn't miss, right? I mean, he's a 40+% 3-point shooter, probably borderline 50% now after his performance tonight. Other than that, I thought Nebraska was pretty well locked in on the defensive end. But the reason I bring up Nebraska's offense as part of the defense is because Nebraska, came out relatively hot in the first half, especially. It was great. Rink Mast has his 5 threes. Nebraska goes 8 of 17 from long range, and Michigan State goes 7 of 17 from long range. This is a Michigan State team that came into this game averaging a hair under 22 attempts per game. And they took 17 in the first half and 28 for the game. Things slowed down a little bit in the second half. It was a little bit choppier. But the fact that Nebraska was able to come out for the first time in a few games and shoot well in the first half, it put pressure on Michigan State to do something it didn't want to do. Nebraska's defensive scheme forces teams into taking more threes than they're normally comfortable with. 10 of 28 is really not a bad mark for Michigan State. I mean, percentage-wise, that's 36%. That's pretty much bang on what they shoot for the year. But here's the thing, Harrison. Nebraska also shot in that same neighborhood, 35% from three, but they made three more on 9 more attempts. That's the math game that Nebraska wants to play. Nebraska is comfortable taking that many threes, knowing that all it has to do is get to that 34, 35% mark, and it knows you're not comfortable taking threes to the same degree that they are. So you'll make an extra pass that maybe you should, too unselfish. You'll drive into a crowd because you feel like you're too open to take the three, or you're just not good enough shooters, and Nebraska will wind up taking that risk. Again, it was close, but games like this, top 15 games against a program as established as Michigan State, games are won on the margins. And I think Nebraska helped itself win this game by, to the best of its ability, playing the math like it always wants to do. The personnel, doesn't necessarily stand out in any meaningful way, right? Outside of a guy like Sam Hoiberg, who played pretty well till he got dinged with foul trouble early in the second half. Nebraska survived without him on the court. I didn't think Cale Jacobson played great, but he did just enough to hang in there. Berke Bouytengel made his normal impact defensively. Nebraska was able to stick him, the more mobile of its two primary big men, on Jackson Kohler on the perimeter for the most part. That was a huge key. When Bouytengel was on him and when Nebraska made a little change to go to more switching in the second half, Kohler didn't get free. It let Rink Mast be better positioned defensively, where we think about Rink and his ability on the perimeter on offense. He's a liability on the perimeter on defense. Held up at times because Fears was so pass first, but other lead scoring guards will hunt Rink Mast on the perimeter defensively. But Berke Bouytengel's availability, his athleticism, were keys in being able to get Rink Mast matchup on Carson Cooper, a much less taxing, less running around, a few fewer screens, more of a traditional post presence. And that went a long way, I think, in helping free up Rink Mast on offense, who absolutely eviscerated Carson Cooper for most of the night offensively. There were a few moments here and there Cooper held his own, but Nebraska being able to get to that matchup on both sides of the ball, I think ended up being another huge key for the Huskers tonight.
If you still want to join in, again, 402-464-5685. We're still live here on the Husker Hoops postgame show. We got Austin Orman now joining us in this segment since he was able to be there at the game himself, witness the court storming, and sees just one of the better games in Nebraska's history, at the very least since I've been alive. You can maybe find something back in the Danny Nee days, but this was certainly up there for me. What'd you see in Berke Bouytengel tonight? Because it's 0 points, you keep going down that stat line, and you find him being effective in other ways.
Yeah, no, that's a guy that Fred Hoiberg has said all year is not a guy that you can always measure his performance by the box score. Not going to jump out the page at you tonight. 0 of 4, missed his 2 threes, only 5 rebounds and 1 assist. But I thought Berke Bouytengel played his role to the best of his ability. I thought he was good enough. He wasn't elite, but he was good, right? In fact, a -5 in his 24 minutes. That's a little surprising to me, unless it came in the midst of that run by Michigan State. I don't remember exactly what the minutes breakdown was, but 5 rebounds, 4 of them on defense, had an assist, only 1 turnover, took good care of the ball, 2 blocks. I think 1 was on a 3 and 1 was on a putback attempt at the rim. Also ended up with 2 steals. So it's not going to be a pretty picture in the box score. I don't think that's necessarily the fault of Berke Bouytengel. I thought he was exactly what Nebraska needed tonight. There was a pretty clear drop-off when Jared Garcia came in. I mean, Garcia only played 9 minutes, and I think that's because some of those miscommunications on Kohler in the first half were on Garcia, whether it was not being locked in, mishearing, miscommunicating, whatever it was. Jared Garcia's got a key role to play on this team. It wasn't his night tonight. He got yanked there in the first half, played some spot minutes in the second. I didn't think Garcia was at his best, and Nebraska was, in my opinion, despite the plus-minus, pretty clearly better, or at least more stable, more consistent on the defensive end when it was Bouytengel in the game.
Let's get to a couple off the text line here. This one, just from 9104 says, cheers, boys. At what point do you start resting Rink Mast a bit more? He's looking pretty gimpy and it is critical tournament time. I'll let you know.
Pardon me if you hear me clacking away over here because I'm trying to pull up Rink Mast game logs. Here's the thing. Nebraska actually has a couple times this year been able to point out that Nebraska been able to get him some rest, right? I mean, he's played, this is only the second time all year he's played third time all year he's played more than 34 minutes. He played 34 in Nebraska's probably two biggest wins to this point, 34 minutes against Oklahoma and on the road at Illinois, 33 against Winthrop, 32 against Kansas State, 31 against Creighton, 30 against New Mexico and UC Upstate. Those actually pretty good numbers. I mean, Rink Mast is playing 75% of the minutes only about half the time. That's pretty darn good. And I'll also say this, because a lot of coaches and a lot of fans, Harrison, will enjoy touting depth. Oh, you'd love to be able to work other guys in. Well, I get it. It can be a strength and it can be a selling point, but this is the value in going to Big Ten Media Days, because I would have been able to hear this really anywhere else. I don't think I would have gone out of my way to find it. Matt Painter, top 3 coach in the Big Ten, probably not 3, and Ben McCollum at Iowa, who's new to the league, but has had some really good success at the D2 level and then had the year with Drake last year. So they were asked about their point guards. And I know it's a different, right? Big man coming off surgery versus point guards in Braden Smith and Bennett Sturts for those other 2 programs. But I think the concept's the same. If you're going to back off a guy's workload, you do it in practice. I get it. Guys get tired in games and need a break sometimes, and that's why you have the sub pattern that you do. But you only are guaranteed 31 games, maybe 32 next year. Games aren't the time to rest your best players. Nebraska needed Rink Mast out there. I mean, the threat of him offensively, he didn't score until there were 2.5 minutes left in the second half. Okay, think about that. He split a pair of free throws, but then the fact that he was still on the court, his gravity and his ability to run an offense led to the 3 that ultimately ended up all but winning the game for Nebraska. Yeah, 36 minutes is a lot. But, especially for a guy coming off surgery, right, who's probably still working back into the best shape he can be in. But if Nebraska is going to find times to rest Rink Mast, it's going to be in practice. Nebraska is off to the storybook start, and I get it, you have the big picture view in mind, but if a guy like Matt Painter is saying, we'll change it up in practice, if a guy like Ben McCollum, who's probably an underrated, under the radar name in college basketball, is saying, we'll back off it in practice. And don't forget, you can see it on TV. Nebraska wears those catapult tracking devices, right? If Rink Mast was in any danger of going over what his physical limit was, I don't think Nebraska would have played him, right, in prioritizing the long term. But this is a game that, was it a must win? Probably not. But this was huge for the program. And you're not going to say, well, man, Rink got 36 minutes in a game we had to win. Well, we go to Ohio State. Well, I guess we can only play him, 28 or maybe 30. Rink's going to be a necessary piece of Nebraska beating Ohio State. They have a stretch big man in Christoph Tilley that poses some problems. They have some really good guards that Rink Mast is going to have to help Nebraska's guards by communicating with. If you have a player like Rink Mast who means so much to your team, you find ways to make sure he's at his freshest for these games because he's that important to you.
Well said there. Let's get to a few more before we get out of here and leave people go. This one, where does this one rank? Unknown texter 4749. Where does this rank in all of Fred Hoiberg's wins at Nebraska so far?
Oh, gosh. Pardon my clacking again as I pull this up. I saved my list from Monday. I didn't know where exactly to rank this game. Going into tonight, my top 5 games of the Fred Hoiberg era, regular season only, the comeback at Wisconsin in 21-22 on the road, beating Creighton in 22-23, the comeback over Wisconsin in the tournament year, this year's win at Illinois, and then the win over Purdue, the number 1 team in the country back a couple years ago as well. It's kind of hard to argue that this isn't 2 or 3.
I was going to say,
again, maybe that's just because I was here, right? I wasn't at the Purdue game, and I hope Nebraska gets another crack at the number 1 team sooner than later. It to me feels like Illinois Part 2, right? Because you think about, well, if Nebraska were to drop this one, it's no big deal. It's Michigan State. They've been there before. It doesn't change anything for Nebraska. The storybook ride continues. But it was at home this time, right? The Illinois game probably played more the way Nebraska is comfortable. So, I mean, anytime you break a 42-year streak of not beating, AP number one teams, anytime your centerpiece in rink mass is key in taking down the team led by the National Player of the Year, and most likely the guy that's going to end up leading college basketball in career assists, right? Anytime you do that, especially in this environment, even though Nebraska was, and maybe because Nebraska was unranked, I still probably give the nod to the Purdue win. But I until proven otherwise, I'm just going to call this an extension of Illinois. A lot of the same narratives. Well, if Nebraska loses, no big deal. Well, we'll see if they can get it done. They have some advantages. Can they find a way? I just think that this is the validation of the way Nebraska is playing. A validation of the season is not fluky. Just the home version as opposed to the road version that Nebraska got at Illinois. So I will put it at 2A for right now, right alongside 2B, the road win at Illinois. Important for different reasons, but definitely the same flavor.
All right, I'm pretty close to that one actually. But
I can't blame you. I can't say you're wrong. I just don't know if I'll go there yet.
Let's go. Let's see. Corey in Lincoln. He says this is clearly number one. Illinois at 2. I put Illinois actually at 3, but it wasn't awesome.
Well, okay. Let me go back to something Corey said before. I don't want to hear about No Sit Sunday anymore. I was there. This is much bigger. See, this is again, it's different, right? It's not like we're comparing, apples to apples here. The thing that made No Sit Sunday so special is that it broke the tournament drought. It had been so long since Nebraska made it. It was against a top 10 Wisconsin team, and you had the buildup to it, right? Nebraska really needed that game to push its resume over the finish line. You can't overstate the importance of that game. And the fact that Nebraska might have had those moments before, basketball or otherwise, and fallen flat. No Sit Sunday is important for what it meant to that team at that time. But Harrison, I'll go back to something I said, was it the start of this segment or the end of last segment? This win can be something more alongside Illinois, because it seems like right now it has the ability to portend more into the future. That 2014-15 team fell completely flat, was a joke, was a pushover, was not good. And then it took a couple years for Nebraska to get close to that level again in 2017-18. They finished top 4 in the Big Ten, settle for the NIT. And then 2018-19, they're on track to be a tournament team. Isaac Copeland goes down, and that season gets derailed. So that No Sit Sunday game meant everything in the moment, and you can't forget how much that meant. But the fact that it was the moment for this program in the 21st century says more about the program than it does the game itself. The key for Nebraska is to not let this combination of wins against Illinois and Michigan State only be meaningful for this team. These need to be wins that we're talking about as the turning point for this program of it legitimized that team. It paid off everything Nebraska built to over the Fred Hoiberg era, and it kicked off the next era of Nebraska men's basketball success.
I love it. I'm going to just focus on tonight's era within the 24 hours, but you're absolutely right. But, I think even Fred Hoiberg is someone on that same page of, yes, and be in the moment, but he already mentioned, I know, in that press conference about Ohio State. I believe you can help me out here, but along the lines of appreciating the win, but I think he mentioned Ohio State coming up on Monday pretty early on in that press conference.
He did, and I think Ohio State's a bit of a worse matchup for Nebraska than Michigan State is. Plenty talented team in their own right. And Nebraska and Ohio State have had some really good battles in the Big Ten era in basketball. I know we're up against it, Harris. I know you got a busy day tomorrow, so I'll just fly through some texts here as well. 0278, I used to try and guess how soon Nebraska would take its first timeout into the game to try and stop the bleeding. It was 40 minutes of pure torture at times. This team makes my patience so worth it. 9104, appreciate you chiming in. 1927, if Nebraska was a perennial power, I'd agree, but I don't think we can ignore the history being set here. Yeah, I mean, first win in 42 years over a number one team back in 23-24. First top 15 game in PBA history, and Nebraska finds a way to pull it off in an atmosphere that Tom Izzo said was among the best of his career. Fred Hoiberg said the best he's ever seen in Lincoln or close to it. Marcus Lawrence said, without a doubt, the best environment. Nebraska fans showed up from the tip. They got happy. They got excited. They got angry. they got edgy, they got a little nervous, and they stuck around all the way till the end. Corey and Lincoln, No Sit Sunday never felt like a real team that could actually make a run. This team does for the first time since the 90s. Okay, not being around for the 90s, I get that. But again, this is kind of the magic of both ends of things, right? Because not to use the cliche example that's just in my mind of the moment, but could you argue that last year's Indiana team was the 2013-14 version of No Sit Sunday? Maybe you could, right? Did that team feel like it was ready for the moment? I don't know. But isn't that part of the magic of the postseason of sports, is that who cares if you think you're ready or not to make a run? The college football playoff might be a little bit different. I mean, if Ole Miss is our biggest Cinderella, I have some issues with that, but especially March Madness, right? Nebraska came in as an underdog, but not a crazy one. It wasn't a 3-14. It was a 6-11. Those happen every year, essentially, right? It wasn't out of the question for Nebraska to win, even if I completely agree that team didn't feel so sustainable. But that's part of the magic. Because it had been so long for that team, they finally had their Cinderella, who maybe peaked a little bit early, but needed it. Needed No Sit Sunday, needed some other wins down the stretch to just get to the tournament. But that's where I echo what I've said, is that, yeah, it feels like that was the flash in the pan. There's no reason that this needs to be, because we've seen, 2.5 years now of extended success. Maybe you can even go back, 3 full years, if you count the second half of 22-23, the way Nebraska built after the injury. And if being Cinderella is part of the magic, well, guess what? They're evil stepsisters in the story too. Harrison, I can just imagine some, plucky mid-major that's so excited to make the tournament for the first time and who knows how long, or they went on a magical run through their conference tournament as the 7 seed, running into this Nebraska team who's just going to go bombs away from 3. And I get it. It's March. We all love the Cinderella. But, if Nebraska can be the evil stepsister that picks up the glass slipper and smashes it on the ground, after Nebraska does that, guess what? They're right back in the Cinderella role themselves, and this team can have the best of both worlds. It's all on the table for them.
Couldn't say it better myself. Love the analogy there. So while I hit the out music, I'll give you the final sentences before we send everyone off.
I think I've said all I need to say. We are going to talk more about this game on Monday. Don't worry. It's going to take a weekend to wrap my brain around it. What a moment in Lincoln tonight for this Nebraska coaching staff, these Nebraska players, and most of all, Husker fans. Thanks as well to the great sponsors, right? UBT, John Henry's in the Lincoln Airport. You guys got on board at the right time. Really appreciate those 3 companies hopping on board and making post-game coverage possible. Harrison, as always, appreciate you, my guy. We'll see you soon.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top-quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us.